from Smith Farm, Borderland Park, is our speaker now for our meeting, and he will tell you about his program. Thank you, Rick, for
Thanks,
coming.
Teresa. Thanks for the invitation. Good to see all you folks. I'll give you a quick up and up of why I'm here. I'm a retired Navy chief. I see we got a couple of shipmates out there. I've met a couple, but good to see you folks. And when I got out of the service, took out the GI Bill, went to graphic design school, another 20 years with that, and then retired. I'm also a cancer survivor, and are now affiliated with Smith Farm at Borderland. I kind of stumbled on Smith Farm by accident because being a genealogist, I punched in my ancestor's name. The ancestor happened to be a Sale Smith. Punched in the name and came up with a curatorship at Borderland State Park for Smith Farm. And it was, at that time, it was being represented by two curators who are no longer part of the organization now. But I had a bunch of pictures of people that had actually lived there, so I sent that down. One thing led to another, and you know, when you get involved with things, you wind up being a part of it. I was offered a position on the board, I took it, and here we are. So now I'm a three-quarter resident of Eastman, and I originally came from Augusta, Maine. I have family back up in there, but come down here to work on Smith Farm. Smith Farm was built by Dr. Sale Smith. Dr. Smith was a clairvoyant physician, and if you're all familiar with the Eastman history by Reverend Chafin, Chafin wasn't too kind with people that didn't follow the normal process of things. From all the research that I've done on my family and on Dr. Smith, that he was basically a botanical physician, and he would grow herbs out at the farm and prescribe those for his patients. He had a pretty long list of patients around Eastman at the time, including the Ames family and others at that time. But he had the place built for him by his two sons, DeRoyce and James, for a place for his botanical gardens. He passed away about 1888, and one thing led to another. In 1906, Blanche James bought the place to use as a
guest house.
yeah, thank you. Caretaker place for the mansion, and it stayed in the Ames family up until Blanche gave the property to the state to use as Borderland State Park. A few people had lived there, but not very much, and the place fell into disrepair pretty quickly. Smith Farm was just about ready to fall into the ground, and we were trying to save it as best we could, and then we started launching programs and fundraisers, initially through Lee Williams. I'm sure you're all familiar with Lee. Lee really was one of the first people to have a vision for us, and he and the Lions Club were part of that initial fundraiser that allowed us to pour some money into the place to get it shored up to finally. We were literally within about one bad snowstorm of having that place fall in. And it is on the National Register of Historic Places. So we wanted to try to save it. I wanted to try to save it because that was part of my family at one time. As we started developing programming, with knowing that Dr. Smith was in the Civil War, and knowing that he was a physician, and myself being 20-year vet, we really saw the need to have a place out there for veterans, for veteran wellness. And we started developing programs with Brockton VA. They had a program called the Center for Integrated Wellness out there for a while, and we were working with them quite extensively. The vets that would come out to Smith Farm loved it. It was a lot better than being at Brockton VA in the brick buildings, and being able to come to a place like Smith Farm, where there's just open acreage of pasture and very peaceful out there. They love being out there. So they did their art therapy out there. They did some mental therapy for people that suffer from PTSD and that sort of thing. So that's kind of where we're gearing at. We want to use that house, once it's completed, to use for programming for veterans and for the community in wellness, that they can use it. They'll have people out there that they can go to see and have their appointments with, and take advantage of the fact that we have about 2 to 3 acres of our own, but we have use of the entire park. So that means veterans can take advantage of the fishing out there. They can take advantage of the trails, open air art. We have Tai Chi out there, we have yoga out there. We've had concerts in the past, and it's a great situation to be able to have this, because this kind of a place doesn't exist anywhere for miles around. So get a lot of interest in Easton, from Sharon, from Foxborough, Mansfield, Stoughton. They're interested in talking with veteran services officers of these towns. They're interested in utilizing our services at some point. So we're really excited about what the future holds. Right now, with the generosity of Easton CPA, we've been successful with 2 of the CPA grants that have really gotten it to the point now where it is the building's totally shored up, the exterior is done, it's looking beautiful right now. The only thing we have left is the interior. So we had a meeting about 2 months ago with Southeastern Regional OTEC, and they are on board with us to do a project that they would start the interior. They would do the interior of the building, they would do the plumbing, and they would do the electrical work on the inside. With that done, we could theoretically have everything done by the following school year and be open for business next year. We're hoping that it works out. We're still working with the school. The school is on board with it, but it needs to pass school committee, so that's where we are with it right now. We just had Lucas Murphy with Watercore Solutions finished septic, and that was a huge project that had been plaguing us for a while. But we managed to get the right plan for it, and that's all installed. So we're right on the border of getting this thing done and getting started up with the program. The curatorship itself is kind of the sticking point with this, the tough part of it, because it's a curatorship, we have charge of getting the renovation completed. Once it's completed, we will have a 65-year lease on the place, so that we can do whatever we want for that long, and then the lease will be up for renewal. It would stay within Smith Farm and Borderland Inc., which would, part of our charter would be to do veteran activities out there and therapies. So, has anybody been out at? I'm curious. Has anybody been to Smith Farm? Got 1, 2, 3. Now we have, and now we have 4. And so, what's interesting is that there aren't many people in Easton that have even been there, and the place has been there since 1880, and yet everybody I talk to from Easton has heard of the place or might know the place, but they've never actually been to see what it's like. And I would encourage any one of you to go out there at some point and take a look at the thing. I know it's kind of it's a walk to get in there, because you have to use the Bay Road, Allen Road Gate, and then it's about a 3/4 mile walk down the dirt road to get in there. Or if you take a bicycle, you can bike in, or you can call me and I'll let you in, and we can drive up to the farm and I'll give you the tour, give you the nickel tour. But please, if you have a chance, I would encourage you to see the place, and please don't be afraid to give me a shout, because I'd like to show it to you. We're pretty proud of it, and we've come a long, believe me, we've come a long way. There were times that I never thought we'd get over that mountain, but we are 2/3 of the way there. So,
Would you explain to them about the gardens? That's a big part
oh,
of
that's
it
true.
also.
Yeah, we do that. We work in partnership with the Christine Wilbur Foundation, and as you probably know, Christine passed away several years ago. She was a therapist working down in California, where she lost her life there to a patient. And we have a memorial garden out there for Christine. We also have another a bench out there for Eastman soldier, Corey Sullivan. And there is another memorial garden over for Devin Ness on the other side of the property. But it's that kind of, we have a lot of people that come there just to sit and reflect in that place, and it seems very appropriate to have those places out there.
Does anybody have any questions?
Yeah.
Yeah, Dawn does.
Yes, Don.
Hi, Don Tuck. Does anyone live there either permanently or part-time, as a gatekeeper or caretaker?
No one lives out there right now, and there's no plan at this point to have somebody live there. We will have one room upstairs that's going to be a bedroom,
Yes.
so that in case veterans that are trying to become more acclimated to civilian life that need a place to stay for a day or two, they can use it out there. The activity going on each day of having therapists out there and other people that are running their programs should keep it busy enough that we wouldn't have to worry about any vandalism or things happening to the building. That was an issue several years ago when the place was running down, but I think people are seeing things happening there, so their kids are less likely to mess with it. It's in a beautiful location, but it's kind of unfortunate because it's in a far end of the park away from the visitor center, and the Rangers are a long ways away.
I've been there with Lee Williams, and it's a rather remote spot when we initially made the tour when it first offered to us. And I'm also part of the Friends of Borderland, and the reason I asked about the caretaker there living, because every week I go there, there's some destruction down at the lodge. The riffraff that migrates in from the woods overnight, and they're there overnight, and then they're gone first thing in the morning, perhaps, because there's fire still left going in the fireplace, things
Yes.
like that.
Yeah.
And they don't necessarily leave trash around, but it's like somebody donated a nice picnic table, and it was inside the lodge, and you come in on Sunday morning, and there's the picnic table in the fireplace, half burnt, and and this has happened several times.
Yeah.
So you can't prevent, it's like other stupid stuff that goes on in the world. You can't prevent against
really
it
can't.
all, but if there was, I don't know, it's just one of those things that's gonna be frustrating and it's gonna be hard.
It is frustrating, and it's, believe me, every time I go there, when I go to visit the farm on a given day, I just, keep my
Yeah.
fingers crossed, pray to God that something hasn't been busted. So far,
Yeah,
so good. It's, like I said, I think the activity, when people see stuff going on there more often and things starting to look newer, they're less likely to mess with it.
yeah,
But it's not to say that things still don't happen. We have a fire pit that was donated by Lowe's for their Lowe's Heroes program.
yes,
They donated the fire pit and they donated the work shed out there.
yeah,
And the fire pit has been a great addition. We hope to be able to have conferences around the fire pit. But there have been times during the winter when we've gone out there and there has been a tree that was hauled in from the woods and it's 3/4 burnt.
yeah.
And there are bottles lying
Same
in the
people
bottom
that
of the
go
fire
to the
pit.
lodge.
And I was, when I saw that, I was more worried about I wasn't worried about the house.
Yeah.
I was worried about the field.
Mhm.
Because if those fields are like timber.
Yeah.
If they ever caught fire, that, you know, the 8 acres, boom, just like that, they
Yeah.
wouldn't be able to get to it.
Yeah.
So it would burn for a long time. So then, you know, you have housing areas around, rainbow circles, right? So yeah, I mean, we have to, you know, we're gonna have security there. Once things are opened up, we'll have security there. I've talked with rangers about using game cameras.
Yeah, I was gonna say trail cameras,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah,
they're pretty important.
I think so, yeah.
Because you can take the chip out, plug it into your computer, you can see who it was and
Right.
everything.
That helps some, and especially if they know that it's like that,
Yeah,
you know, that they're being monitored, that will help. It's not a foolproof method. You're still gonna get some people once in a while. They're gonna push the lines, but something we don't like to think about too much. We can prepare, but,
well, thanks for all the hard work you're doing.
oh, thanks, appreciate it. Appreciate you saying so.
Where's the entrance? Is it beyond the Borderland entrance?
Entrance to the place is actually up at the end of Allen Road here. As soon as you hit Bay Road,
Yeah,
there's a parking lot right there.
yeah.
There's a gate there that opens
Yeah.
up. And when we have functions there, we open that gate up and let people drive in to the farmhouse. If you've been in Eastman for a while, you might remember the fact that you used to be able to drive all the way down there.
Yeah.
They don't do that anymore because the park is understaffed and they can't watch everything like they used to be able to. I'm kind of lobbying at some point I'd love to have a parking area down at the end of that road, widen the road a little bit, but that gets into environmental issues too. We have a few people that make it difficult to go down in there with big machinery. So that's why when you walk in there, you'll see signs up that says, watch out for toads and snakes. So there's an issue with that. It goes by a couple of vernal pools, so there's an issue there. But all in all, it's worked out pretty well. We've got, like I said, we've had great support from the town of Eastman on 2 occasions for CPA grants, so I'm forever indebted to them. And part of this, very quickly, if I could, the reason I'm doing this is not just because of family, is to give something back to this community. I haven't mentioned it, but my grandparents grew up here, and my great-grandfather was given a tuba from Anna Ames back around turn of the century. And music has been in my family for a long time. I'm a retired Navy musician. And every time we had family gatherings, there'd be music. Everybody in the family played music. That came from Anna Ames. So when I started coming down here, it was my mission to give something back to this community that gave my family so much. So that's one of the biggest reasons why I'm here.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.